Now I've taken off the old digitizer from the iPad, and I want you to look at this. So on this side, so this is on the edge of the iPad close to the motherboard, there's going to be a little bit of glue. We're going to use a knife, we're going to scrape off the excess glue that is on the inside of the iPad. So you're going to take a knife and trace it down along the inside of the body of the iPad and cut off all that extra glue that's on the inside. And if any of that glue looks like there's dirt in it or dust in it, you can just take off all of the glue and put on new glue. Now we're going to check all four sides to make sure that they're all straight. So again, we're going to use this table here, just the edge of the table. And this iPad has a dent on this side, so it's bent in a little bit. Looks like somebody hit this side against something. So we're gonna knock that out, and I'll show you. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So we've took a little screwdriver, put it right up against the inside lip of the aluminum body and just hammered it out. And again, we're going to fix that power cable, the power button rather, that's just rattling like that. Good. It's very important to take off the home button as well. Now this is a digitizer that I've replaced previously. What I use is crazy glue on the underside of the home button, on the two pads of the home button to hold them in place. So what you want to do is take a knife and take a hammer. And just lightly knock that out. So I'm hammering right on those home button pads. So right here and on the other side as well. So on those two pads that hold the home button in place, just put the knife right next to it and then hammer down lightly on that point and it should come right out. Once you have it out, you're going to scrape off the pads with your knife. Make sure that it's nice and even for when you put it back on the new screen. Okay. Okay, and you see the screen is still intact, it's not broken. So you're able to take the home button off without breaking the screen. The new screen has tape all the way around, but you want to make sure that there's only one layer of tape. So on the original body of the iPad, you still have the tape on the top, on the side, and on half of the bottom. So you're going to take the tape off on those corresponding areas on the new screen. You don't want two layers of tape, you only want one layer of tape. And the original tape on the iPad is always better than the replacement tape that they give you on the new screen. So it's going to take a little bit of a tweezer. Good. It'll usually come with a home button gasket. You don't need that, so you're going to take that out. This one comes with a camera bezel, which is great. You just got to make sure it's centered. Now, on the area closest to the cables, I always take off that little bit of tape, and I also take off this little bit of padding that you can see as well. And when the time is ready, I'm going to use crazy glue and reattach the home button right here on the new screen. But for right now, we're going to lay down a little bit of glue right along that edge closest to the motherboard. This is where the cables attach. So the reason for this is this area has a tendency to come up. So that's why I'm attaching additional glue on this side. I use hot glue. I've used crazy glue in the past, which just gets a little bit more messy and it's harder to take off. If there's a different glue that you like or different tape that you like, that can work as well. But this area is very important because you want to make sure that it sticks to the screen and it doesn't come up. If you're using hot glue, you're not putting down too much. You're putting down just a little bead of it. You're gonna lay it down from the edge right up to about there. And just a little bead of it, you're not putting down too much. When you're putting in the home button, you want to make sure that the bottom clicker, there's a tiny little thing that sits, a little dot almost, that sits, you can see it right in the center of the picture here. And the clicker has to be aligned with that metal bump that's on the holder. So you want to make sure that the home button is able to click once it's in place. Because once you crazy glue it on, it's not going anywhere. Now we're ready to put the screen back on. I'm going to take off the tape. Okay, first you put the digitizer on. These push connectors, you're going to push those into place. And then we have the screen, which we took off previously. Make sure you attach the home button as well. Here we're reattaching the battery. And this is where you want to test it. So you're going to kind of lay it out like this. Turn it on. Now you want to test the iPad, test the digitizer by using your finger, kind of swiping up like this. You want to make sure that the icons move up and down as you swipe. This iPad looks good. Sometimes if you have a bad digitizer, you'll see it where one part of the screen won't work, and that's where you want to replace the digitizer. So you don't want to lock it in until you test the digitizer. If there's any spots on the screen, you'll take a clean tissue and try to wipe them off as best you can. Don't use any kind of abrasive. You're just going to use a clean tissue. Before you close it up, you want to look around the edges, make sure there's nothing on the tape, no pieces of broken glass. This tape has to be pristine. There can't be any debris on it. Otherwise, the digitizer will not sit evenly on the body. We're going to remove the plastic cover on the inside of the digitizer. Okay. Again, use the canister vacuum. Okay, now we have our new digitizer on. You'll see there's a gap. This is where we put the glue. So we're going to take something narrow and flat. You're going to push in on the cables, make sure the cables are good. Push in on the home button cable as well. Make sure that's good as well. This is your last chance to make sure there's nothing underneath the screen. Again, no dust, no hair. And we use the heat gun on the low heat setting, nice and easy. We're going to melt that glue. Okay, just apply some light pressure to make sure that the screen is sitting evenly on the body of the iPad. Some light pressure, not pushing too hard. Wait for the glue to harden. Now feel all the way around. You shouldn't feel any bumps. It should be smooth all the way around. If you do feel a bump, that means there's something underneath, maybe a piece of broken glass or a piece of dust or something that is holding up the iPad screen, the digitizer, from the body. And you have to remove that. Now we have a little bit of a lip of glue on the side where the glue came out. We're going to take that off.